Okay, so, hey guys, I know this is super random, but I'm going to make a Zelda tier list, and I thought it was going to be fun. Uh, okay, so basically, it's really, really hard to continue making a bunch of videos that are so in-depth. I get so in-depth, but I feel like I have to be in-depth because I have all these thoughts in my head that I have to get out. So I thought, what kind of videos could I make that could be easy while I work on other things? And I'm just going to make some tier lists because even that in itself is helping me get my thoughts out into the open, which is kind of what I really like doing. I tried to make a video about afros to serve this purpose, but that in itself ended up being a ridiculous process. So here we have a Zelda tier list, and that's because I like Zelda games. So we've got, I didn't edit these parameters at all. I haven't edited anything about this tier list in advance. This is just what's here. It's what I'm working with. Even the tiers I haven't edited, although I'm sure I could. So out of these, I'm going to do these in the listed order. And if I haven't played a game, I'm going to, you know what? You know what I'm going to do? No, that doesn't make sense. No. Move that down. Add row below. This is kind of embarrassing. This is going to be called haven't played. Or haven't played enough, maybe I should say. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to put The Legend of Zelda, the original, in. Man, I've played it a little bit, but you know what? I have an opinion on it, though. I'm going to put it in D tier. I'm immediately going to set myself on fire with this one, I guess, because The Legend of Zelda, the original, created such a good series, but it's just, you can't tell me you want to go back to the first one and just play it for the sake of playing it. There's no sense of direction. It's really cryptic. And yeah, it was a free-form game back when platformers were like the main form of entertainment, and it was novel and it created this whole thing, but I can't go back to it. I'm going to save Wind Waker for a little bit, until a little bit later because I have a little bit more to say about it. Hyrule Warriors. How about, that's a solid B tier. C tier. I'm going to review this whole thing later, but right now I'm going to put that in C tier. It's the only Warriors game I've played from beginning to end because it's a Warriors game with a Hyrule, well, it's got a Zelda skin on it, but it's fun enough to play for sure. It was good for one playthrough, but then there's literally too much to do with too little variety in the gameplay to justify even trying to 100% it. There's far too much material to work with. Legend of Zelda Four Swords Adventures. I played that one time, but I don't have enough information to form an opinion on it. It's too hard to play. You need 4 Game Boy Advances and 4 Game Boy Advance link cables to even start, to even set it up. That's like on my to-do list, though. I'd like to do that with my friends. The original Four Swords. I played the Anniversary Edition on the DSi, or 3DS Shopware thing that they released for free. It's actually a lot of fun. Gonna put that in, just like B tier. It's like a fun party game. It's a fun party game. Legend of Zelda Minish Cap. I've played most of this one, but it's enough to have a pretty... I'm gonna put it in B tier. I'm gonna try to order the tiers, though. The left most things being like the B pluses, the plus kind of thing. I think Legend of Zelda Minish Cap is really solid. And I don't have too much to say about it. I didn't finish it just because life got busy, and there's kind of a pattern there you'll see with some of these. I think I have the tendency to do that with Zelda games, but I do still kind of love them. We have The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Sorry, the text is so small, and it's just not coming to me, even though I'm seeing the logos and I know what game I'm talking about, the titles. Majora's Mask is super good. I think that I have a really specific opinion of this game. It is one of the best games I've played that I don't really want to play again. if you don't know, there's a timing mechanic in this game where at the end of the in-game 3-day cycle, the world explodes and you immediately lose. But with the Ocarina of Time still in your possession from the last game, you can play the Song of Time to restart the 3-day cycle. And when you restart the 3-day cycle, a lot of your progress is also reset, but now you have more knowledge of how to do this next portion of the game faster until you get to the point where it saves. And basically, the only things that save are a few key items that you have and the dungeons you've cleared. And I like the idea of a Groundhog Day Zelda game, but I just wish the timer would turn off. I wish the timer would turn off during dungeons, because solving puzzles under a time limit is just a bit too stressful for me. This game has such a good tone. Tonally, I love this game. I remember there was like an interview with Zelda Williams. Robin Williams' daughter is literally named Zelda Williams after The Legend of Zelda. She described this as the Tim Burton Zelda game, whereas Skyward Sword was more of the Disney Zelda game, and that is a really good comparison. This game is tonally awesome. I think it's better than Ocarina of Time in a lot of ways, but if you asked me, would you rather just go pick up and play Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask right now, I would actually say Ocarina of Time, just because it's easier to play. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Oh, man. I'm going to look through this at the end. So we got, there we go. We put it in S tier for now. I don't have too much to say about this game. Everyone knows. It was, for the longest time, it was considered the greatest video game ever made. And I don't think you can... it's really solid. It's the first attempt at a 3D Zelda, and they just did it really, really well the first time. This is one of the best video games ever created. And I feel like now, this being Breath of the Wild, I feel like now that's almost kind of a different thing to say, because whenever I hear people talk about this game, it's almost like the nitpicks or negative things they have to say about it, because it was a relatively recent now, smash hit. And like, while there are nitpicks in the game, it's such a ridiculous experience. I'm going to have to make an entire video about this game. But just remember, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is insanely solid, and I really appreciate the approach that it takes towards letting players solve their own problems in their own ways. It means that much to me. Oracle of Ages and Seasons. I haven't played either of these games. But I'm aware that it's by the creators of Link's Awakening, which I'm just now looking at the list, and I think Link's Awakening is missing. That's not good. But if that's true, they'll probably be like high A tier, because I love Link's Awakening, man. That's such a good game. Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess is, well, you can put it right there. This game is phenomenal, and that's, I mean, if you just want stray thoughts about the game, I'm going to say that it, as a game, is extremely linear and action-packed, but every moment feels different than the last, so I don't mind that how linear and awesome it is. I've heard some people say it tries too hard to be dark, but like, the word Twilight's in the name. It doesn't try for like an overly dark tone. It just is dark tonally because that's the theme of the game, and that's okay. Not everything that is dark is automatically edgy. Sometimes it's done in a really good way, and in this game, I think it's done really, really well. Yeah, this is a game that doesn't... It's not like it feels too serious all the time, and it actually has some, despite its art style and stuff, and it actually has some of the best character arcs in the series. Midna's the best partner in the series. I actually like the wolf a lot. My biggest complaint about the game is that the tutorial is like 5 hours long. What the heck? That's far too long. But even still, I've played this game 3 times. I've like sat through the tutorial multiple times and bought the HD version and did it again just because the game is that solid. It's a really good game. Okay, we might be getting into some unpopular things here, although I've already said put Twilight Princess that high. I guess I'm going to tackle this now. I'm going to put this there. Wind Waker is not that good. like, it's... Every 3D Zelda game is a good game, and the series as a whole has an amazing track record. It's similar to me to how you always hear Sonic videos start with, Sonic the Hedgehog got a rough start into 3D, and, you know, it's been struggling ever since. It's like one of those things that's not actually that grounded in truth about how people say the Wind Waker was, universally panned at first for its art style, but it's actually a super charming game and people have warmed up to it. It's like, people need to stop saying that, because this game hasn't actually been underrated in like 15 years. Literally, most people love this game. It's not underrated. It's overrated, in my opinion, because I actually don't dislike it for the art style, but I think as a game, everyone says it's underrated, and it's everyone loves it, but actually there's a lot of like actual complaints I have about it. I don't like the sailing. I think it's boring, and I think there are other things. Like, the Great Sea is awesome, but it's really not. Like, it seems like an adventure, but you don't actually need a lot of player input in it. You literally let the game play itself for a while, and it's like, wow, this is like I'm on a boat sailing adventure. But as a video game, that's kind of boring, isn't it? And then the dungeons are super easy. The story's okay. I think the story gets good at the end, but most of it's just okay. I don't know. This isn't my Zelda game. It's not terrible, and as a game, it's good. But when it comes to the 3D Zelda games, it's the worst one, in my personal opinion. Legend of Zelda, stinking Link to the Past. I'm going to put it right here. Legend of Zelda Link to the Past is pretty good. This might be an unpopular opinion as well, I'm not even sure. But I know it's one of those like legendary SNES games that I didn't play for far too long. And then I got around to playing, and I'm like, well, I've played all the other ones. It's pretty good. I admit for when it was made, it's fantastic. But that doesn't mean... I don't think... Unlike Ocarina of Time, I don't think it's still one of the best, to be honest. Like, it reminds me of, like... And I feel like I could have felt that way. When I didn't play Super Metroid until last year, and Super Metroid is in a similar position. It's like the best in the series. You got to play it Super Nintendo Classic. Super Metroid is an S-tier Metroid game. Like, it did live up to the hype. But then, the Zelda game that's like in a similar position, it didn't do it for me as much. It's a really good game. To be honest, I haven't finished this one either. I think it's okay. Triforce Heroes. I've only played it twice with one friend. I don't feel fair judging it. I think it would be really fun if I actually had two friends to play it with consistently, which was the idea. But just picking up the game and trying to play it by myself, and then also just playing with a friend a couple of times, I don't have a lot of memories to judge it by, so I don't think I will. Phantom Hourglass. Phantom Hourglass is okay. It's one of those DS games that is controlled entirely by the touchscreen, which isn't inherently bad, but it's... Honestly, that's not even really one of the complaints, in my opinion. It's just a little bit strange, and then the music isn't as good as most Zelda music, which is kind of an important complaint in this series. And then it has this annoying format where you'll do one dungeon and then go back to this center dungeon, and you'll have to do that center dungeon over and over and over again in between every other dungeon. And it's not like you have to do it from the beginning every time too. And so it gets more and more tedious the more times you come back, because you're just revisiting areas for no reason. And that in combination with the music, it's a little underwhelming. I've heard Spirit Tracks is much better, but I've only played the first hour of it. I feel like if I played it, it would be like B tier. It seems to do a lot of things better, but I can't judge it. Can't judge this one. I've only played it... Well, I played it about as much as the first... I'm going to put it next to the first one. Believe it or not, I'm going to put it slightly above the first one, though. I'm going to switch the places. Because I think that this game could have worked. I don't think the fact that it's a side scroller with RPG elements is what makes it bad. I wouldn't mind if they like did a 2.5D Zelda in the Zelda 2 format, but good. Like that would be totally fine with me. The format is fine, and I think it makes it a little bit more fun than the original Zelda game. Problem, there's still no sense of direction, and it's stupid hard. For no reason. And when you're in a game that doesn't have a sense of direction and you die frequently, you just don't want to play it. So these games, they're both still at the bottom. It really was this game, which is technically Zelda 3, that really got the series on the map, probably. I don't know. I wasn't alive. I guess it was this one, because it was impressive back then. But I think this really sealed the deal for the series. Skyward Sword, S tier. Oh boy. I like all three of these. Are my 3 favorite Zelda games right here. And I don't know. I think I'll put them. I'll do that right now. Skyward Sword is awesome, and I don't care what anyone says. The motion controls are good. My only problem with the motion controls is the fact that they're used in some unnecessary places, so you have to use them a bit too often. You probably shouldn't. You need to use the motion controls to fly or swim, because that's not intuitive. But it is intuitive to use it as a sword, and as a bow, and as the claw shot. Not that you can actually find a claw shot in real life, but if you do, tell me where it is. So the motion control is a bit overused in random areas, and in those areas it seems kind of gimmicky, but for the most part, I love the way this game controls. It's designed around it. Might have the best story in the series. Probably has my favorite art style in the series. It's this beautiful, almost watercolor art style. Needs an HD version. Because if the textures were smoothed out, it would look so good. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's just super solid. My only complaint about the game is if they do re-release it, they need to make your partner, Fi, not give you such obvious hints. Because they already have an optional hint system in the game. So why is there also a mandatory hint system with you at all times? They could literally just make her say less obvious things sometimes. Because sometimes she just basically gives you the answers to a couple puzzles. But outside of those situations, the dungeons and puzzles are still great. So, fantastic game, though. Absolutely legendary. What is this? Is this Link's Awakening? This is so small. I think it is. Why is it so small? I'm pretty sure that it is. If that's the case, I was incorrect earlier, and I'm going to put this right here. I really like this game. It's a weird Zelda game. I got both of the weird ones right here. It's because it doesn't take place in Hyrule. The entire thing is an elongated dream sequence, and that normally is a cliche. But in this game, it's... They turn the whole dream, like it was just a dream type of cliche on its head by really making you get attached to everyone on the island. And when you wake up by fighting the final boss, because you become self-aware. Link becomes self-aware and he has to wake himself up. And it becomes really bittersweet because you have to say goodbye to everyone from this metaphysical world that are partially real in a way because you're in someone else's dreams. You're in the windfish's dreams, and the windfish creates these metaphysical people and stuff. And by waking yourself up, you're kind of deleting those people, which you feel like are kind of semi-real at that point. It's really bittersweet. And it's just quirky. It's got random Mario references in it. It's got good dungeons. I just like this one for whatever reason. I like its tone. I like it as a game. Here's another one I never finished, but I think very highly of. I'll put it right here. Right there. Link Between Worlds. Life got busy, didn't finish this one. Good game. Very good game. It's kind of... For a while there, Zelda games were getting really linear. So in order to make this one less linear, before they had the Breath of the Wild approach, this was on a handheld, They're like, okay, well, what if instead of getting, what if, all the items are always tied to progression. What if you could just rent the items? So you could explore the world at your leisure to get rupees, and then you could rent the items or buy them if you just explore for long enough. But if you die, then you get those things taken away. So there's also a sense of challenge in it. And with that rental item system, you can do like the first few dungeons in any order, and then you can do the second few dungeons in any order. And there's just a lot of collectibles in the world that you can do anytime as well. So this is like a pretty free-form Zelda game that really shook up the series in a positive way. I liked it a lot. I just didn't finish it because I got busy. Let me look over this tier list real quick. We don't have Link's crossbow training, which is a shame. And we don't have Link's Awakening DX, which is the definitive version of this game for Game Boy Color. It has color and an extra dungeon, and that's the version I played. I don't know. There's HD versions of some of them, Master Quest versions. But just judging all these by the base game, I think I sit by this. Was that a little too hard on Wind Waker? Should I put it here? I'll put it there. And yeah, okay, so cool. This is my Legend of Zelda tier list. Let me know what you think. Wouldn't mind getting some comments or feedback if, I actually wasn't kidding about making a Breath of the Wild video in the near future. If you want, yeah, so it'll be good. I don't know how to end this. Yeah.